and to deliver the guest lecture in spite of his busy schedule. I request our principal, Dr. Hanumantrao Garu, to kindly address the participants.
So thank you, Kishore. Good morning, one and all. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's nice to see you. And thanks for accepting our department's invitation to part of IIC. I think one Mr. Edison is there, sir, with you.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. He is very well here.
Yeah, we work together.
Oh, okay.
At VNR for close to 1 year.
Okay, he is part of academic staff college as well.
Yes.
Part of mechanical plus academic staff college.
Okay. So nice to hear from you, sir. So for all the participants, whatever today's lecture, take it seriously. I also would like to declare that we are coming out with a concept called Mathrusri Maker Space that we are going to launch shortly by another 1 month time. So there students will get an opportunity to convert your conceptual model into reality, where we are placing 3D printers, some woodworking lathe, and profile cutting machines. And somebody is good at electronics, an electronic workbench with all electronic components and kits, and some computers with all latest software like 3D modeling and programming, MATLAB and all. So after you people complete your examination in the coming March, April, definitely the center will be ready. So we can transform your ideas into reality. So overseas, a lot of universities, this is a very popular place in most of the universities. They're having this makers space. So these are we want to initiate, and IIC also, the part of it will collaborate in that. So also all the inputs, whatever is provided today, you can use those concepts and work on the machines and make the product as a functional model or a conceptual model, at least to show your idea, it looks like and all can be created in the reality. So with these few words, once again, I thank Dr. Naiju for accepting our invitation, the part of IIC seminars. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Principal sir. Thanks for sharing the information about the Mathrusri Maker Space and the benefits and the possible outcomes for the students. Now I request my colleague, Mr. T. Somashekar, to introduce the esteemed speaker to our audience.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So very good morning, one and all. My special thanks to our principal, sir, and management and our HOD. Special warm welcome to my esteemed today esteemed program personality, Dr. C.D. Naiju Garu, for accepting his busy schedule. And we are going to give brief biodata about the Professor Naiju, sir. He is working as a professor in Department of Design and Automation, School of Mechanical Engineering, Vellore University, Vellore. He has carried out a research project and many consultancy works. He has published various papers and research papers in international journals, and he attended so many conferences also. He's having more than 100 papers he's having in research area. He holds a degree in mechanical engineering from Kerala University, masters in computer-aided structural analysis and design, and PhD in reliability of additive manufacturing metal parts from VIT University. Is a member of Institution of Engineers and Society of Automotive Engineers India. He is a recipient of Ralph Tater Educational Award 2011 and Outstanding Faculty Advisor Award 2017 from SAE International. His area of interest includes metal additive manufacturing, new product development, and DFMA, Design for Manufacture and Assembly. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Somashekar. That it's an honor for us to have you as our speaker for today's session, sir. So over to Dr. Naiju, sir, and request him to take us through the presentation.
Thank you, sir, and good morning to all present here. Thank you, Hanumantrao sir, Kishore sir, and Somashekar for the warm welcome given. maybe I'll directly go to the presentation. As Principal Sir Harmandrao Sir said, I'm happy to hear that you're going to start a makerspace in your institute where your product ideas will be transferred into physical objects or the prototypes which can be developed using different methods. So I have planned today's session mainly for the product development methods. While developing a product, what all are the steps to be taken, or what is the theory behind the new product development, or what all things you should take into consideration while going for a new product. It is unlimited. Unlimited means simply we cannot design a product. If we design a product, it will not come into a physical form. Or if it comes into a physical form, nobody will there to use your product. So considering all these things, let me share my experience with you for developing a new product. And in the end of session, maybe I'll touch upon the what are the prototyping methods or the types of prototyping methods, what you can do in your institute. I'll just share my screen. Is the screen visible for you?
It's a blank, sir, but we can able to see options only, sir.
Now?
No, sir.
1 second.
Okay, sir.
Is it visible?
No, sir.
Is it visible now?
No, sir. Better you share the entire screen. Bottom left, you'll have that entire screen.
1 second. Yeah.
The bottom right side corner.
I was trying to share the window. That's the problem. Yeah.
Yes, sir. You share the entire screen.
Now?
Now we got it. Make it full screen, sir. There you can make it full screen, so that it can be enlarged.
I think it is in the full screen for me.
You have to stop sharing and again do it. Bottom right corner, there is a button called Present Now.
Yeah, I'm using that only.
In that, the first one you take your entire screen.
Yes.
Yes. Wait for a second. You have to open your PP. Now it is coming.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll present it in this form so that I can do the what do you call drawings also maybe a little bit. So
Is it PPT, sir, or is it PowerPoint or any other software?
this is a PDF in another one software only.
Then PDF means you will get like this only.
Yeah.
You have to make full screen if possible, otherwise you can continue, sir.
Okay, if it is visible for you, I'll just continue. Okay.
Because the students, if anybody is in mobile, it will be difficult. Okay, you can continue.
Yeah. So I was trying to link the new product development process, mainly the new product development process using the philosophical method by which was proposed by Aristotle. He's a philosopher, maybe 2000 years before. He was a student of Plato. Those who are interested in philosophy, you'll be knowing about Aristotle. So this is my presentation outline. You may be wondering what exactly it is. So here, if you check it, there are many products in the world or day-to-day life we are using, which is not designed for a human being, or it's not designed for how we can use it, or we'll be using that product for some other purpose. Okay, some product will be there which we buy it, but we use it for some other purpose. And you'll come to know why this slide is presented in the end of this session. Yeah, here you can see, instead of pasting the paper, somebody was trying to patch it using a safety pin, which is not required, or it is a wrong way of using a product. Yeah. Now, coming into the new product, you can see from the primitive societies, very olden days, Neoliths or Eolith age, we are using products. Now also we are using different products. But the techniques for producing this, the technical method by which we are going to produce these products are keeping on changing. New techniques have been developed, new methods have been developed, etc. But the planning for developing a product is, there is only minimal changes. How we are planning and designing a product, what decision we'll be taking to create a new product. Everything is minimal in the planning. Okay, and we can see a specific period of history or specific period of time, the products keep on changing. For example, when your professor or myself or your principal, who are in our childhood age, we have never seen a TV. Or if it was seen also, we have seen only CRT models, where we'll be having a big electron beams, etc. for fuse for creating the TV display. Now it has come into a very thin shade. Or we have not seen a telephone in our childhood age. Or we have seen only in the early 1990s. Or now we can see different types of mobiles, etc. So in a specific period of time, different products come into the market by the change of technologies, etc. And these products, what is in the market, it is technically controlled by technical features or the technological development, then the materials, how it is being produced. There are different materials coming into the market, or we are using different materials for producing or using. And finally, the aesthetics, how beautiful your product is, how good it is. Seeing that only people actually buy your product. So all these three things you have to keep in mind: the technical development, the material what you are going to use, and the aesthetics. And when you say about material, now people are fighting for plastic, right? Plastic is very harmful to environment. So all those things also you have to take into consideration. Different environmental factors while selecting the material, etc. But the product which you cannot avoid is plastic. But we know how to use it in a proper way, that so that it will not affect the environment, or it will affect the environment only in a minimal way. You see this slide. Humans were tool makers before they were tool users. What do you mean tool makers or tool users? Or what is the first product which has been developed? Any idea? Maybe I'll go to the
Hammer.
next. Pardon me?
Wheel.
Hammer.
Wheel, sir.
Louder.
Wheel.
No. Wheel and all. It is maybe while starting out the little later, very thousands of years after that only this product was there. Wheel. Wheel was the starting of modern age. It was a weapon, the first product.
Hammer only, sir.
Before that, it was a symbol stone. Okay, we can call that particular stone, which was used as a weapon, as the first product, or this is my perception maybe. This particular product, stone, a rose stone, these human beings used for different purpose. For killing the animals for their food, mainly. Then later on they started rubbing two stones and started making the fire. Just thousands of years later maybe. Maybe I'll come to that next slide. The tools and the products. The Eoliths, the Stone Age, early Stone Age. These are what are the stone, what they received, what they got from the nature. They used as a weapon for different purpose. It was a weapon or a tool which was used for their livelihood or for just taking living. They used it for killing, they used for shaping, etc. And in the Paleolithic age, they started shaping it. There comes the first designer or engineer. They started shaping the stone into different shapes. Okay, for making a knife, making a dagger, making a spear, etc. So shaping started. The manufacturing process started. Then somebody felt that there is no comfort in holding this stone. Comfort. Then they started adding some covering for it, maybe. They started adding a handle to it. They started shaping the handle. And they were using the hides, the ivories, wooden stems, roots, etc. for making the handles, shaping it, including the leather from the skin of the dead animals. They started making more comfort. So people started going towards comfort stage at that time itself. Then later on the Neolithic age, the metals came, iron, bronze, etc. came, and they started shaping the tools and adding. And this time only wheel was invented. It was thousands years later on, and then started the modern age. Then people started thinking of comfort in life. This comfort made way for the engineers or product designers for new products to bring into the market. Okay, this is a brief history. Now, Aristotle, he started thinking why we are going for this, why new products, or what is a product, why we have to do this. This why, or he started questioning each and everything in the science, every area of science, physics, chemistry, biology, whatever. He started asking why for it. Now itself we take it. Why this pen is this of this much length? Why the pen is of this much diameter? Why a mechanism for this? Why a handle or a lock for this? So if you start shooting questions to the existing designs, you'll end up something as a cause. It is for some purpose. Something is there for a particular cause. This pen is designed. Why this much length for this pen? Why can't it be smaller? So we'll get a lot of answers to hold it properly, right? We cannot have bigger diameter, so this will be comfort. This is an optimal design. If you put it in the pocket, it will fit into the standard size of a pocket. It will not project outside. So many factors. Little bit metal or plastic here, a rubber surface here, so that easily it can grip into the hand. So many factors cause this particular design to be into a product. So I'll just go through this step by step. What are the causes of a new design in the Aristotelian way. What he proposed, same thing is followed by all product designers in a different way or different methods. That totally has been changed. But the planning phase is same as what Aristotle proposed more than 2000 years before. So he started, as I told, he started searching for answers for the existing products or existing being and the cause and principles of the known universe. In this new universe, what all things are there, he started searching for the cause of it. And he came up with 4 causes. Keep in mind, only 4 causes for the existence of an artifact. Artifact means a product or something what is made by a human being. So if you are having an artifact, there will be 4 reasons for its causes or 4 reasons for its existence. First one, sorry, all the 4: material cause, the formal cause, the efficient cause, and the final cause of its existence. Coming to the first one, material cause. Okay, for example, if you are going to design a jar can be something like this, right? It can have a shape like this. Pardon me? Shall I continue?
Yeah, please, sir, please.
So it can have different shapes, a small bottle like this. So can you tell me why this it has taken this shape like this? Or many bottles are there. Just a cylindrical bottle is available now with a cap, maybe a lengthy neck bottle. So now let me come back to the material cause. This can be made using a clay, maybe in the olden days. A wood can be used. A glass material can be used. Metal can be used. Plastic can be used. So n number of materials is available for making a jar or a bottle. Okay. Now you commit an answer or a something. What is it going to be made of? What is it going to be made of? So when you're thinking about a new product, first you have to think about the material cost. What it is going to be made of. Okay, you have to plan that. Second, the formal cause. What shape? Formal or the form? Form is the shape of the object. What form your bottle or design will look like? The formal cause. We call it as a formal cause. How my product should look like? What shape it should be? You can see the very olden day jar where they used to store some liquids. It was made of clay, so it had a purpose. The fluid or whatever thing you should keep, it will be cool if you are using a clay. So some purpose was there behind it. Some cause was there. Then made they something with metal later on, with the porcelains. Again, different clay or porcelain. Then different shapes. Some engineering is there in it. Maybe to withstand the pressure, etc. Then somebody made a small shape like this here. That also reason is there. Finally, we have a bottle. What you're using nowadays like this. So different stages of design in different times, different stages, etc. We come and finally we get a small shape which is commonly used like this. Some shape like this. Okay, so difficulty, this is maybe some evolution from the initial design to the later design, and this is the second cause or called the formal cause of this particular product. Now coming to the third one, that is the efficient cause or the agent who is going to make it. or here we can call the manufacturing engineer or the manufacturing representative who is going to make your product. The maker, where the skills are applied to bring your product into a real. The machines, what are the machines available for manufacturing your product? How the which machine should be used for making your product? There are n number of machines for different purposes. So we can call it as a moving cost or the agent who makes this, and we get an answer for who made it and how, who is going to make it. Some guy who is skilled, and how he is going to make it. He is going to use some machines to make it. So we are going to design your manufacturing process. Okay, the manufacturing process will be designed or selected at this point of time. So we have our initial material cost, then we came to the formal cost, then the efficient cost, and finally we have the cost, the final cost, where purpose, the use of it. At the end, who is going to use it and what is the function of it? So if you are having a table, what will be the material cost? It can be wood, right? We can make the table using wood. So what will be the shape? It will be a rectangular shape, it will be a circular shape, it will be an oval shape, triangular shape, square shape, etc. Different shapes. The top leg also can be different shape, some shape like this. So different shape products can be into the market, and who is going to make it? It may be a carpenter or a skilled guy. If you are using metal, a welder can do it. And finally, what is the purpose of it? Maybe for it to study, for it to dine, etc. Many purpose of it. So you got four costs: the material cost, the formal cost, the efficient cost, and the final cost. So if you are having these two functions, these four causes, surely your product will be very good and you will be able to solve all the problems what is facing by the human beings, to make them comfort and to have a good purpose of living while designing a new product for them. And without this, if you start designing, what will happen? Without any purpose, if you are designing, what will happen? The problems will not be solved. Okay, your product, you only will end up in using it. Nobody will buy your product. So nobody will hire you for designing. You will not get profit for your company if you are designing a bad product or product which is not useful for others. And finally, company will send you out. So you lose your job. So these are the four things you have to keep in mind while designing a new product or going for a redesign of the existing product. That's also a wide area. Now, touching upon the new product development process, the process by which you are going to design a product. So the first step, idea generation. So who gives you idea? It can be your own idea, the product user's idea, or the customer. Okay, it can be a supplier's idea who supplies your product. It can be a dealer's idea. So the list goes on like this. And it can be an R&D idea. From the customer feedback what you are getting, That can also be, or that will be an idea. And from the research, it is found out that this R&D, maybe 10 to 15% of ideas they develop. Your idea or your designer's idea can be coming to 40 to 50%. Remaining suppliers, dealers, etc., 30 to 40%. Okay, this is a research output for the ideas or the products what are coming into the market from these people, from the users. These companies take a general feedback from the customers, how my product is, or what are the problems of my product. So they do a good analysis with the help of R&D department, marketing department, etc., and they generate these ideas. And these ideas, designers are very, very problematic. They are egoistic. A lot of egos will be there within the design department. Some people will try to push their product into the market. This is the best idea. You develop this. Sometimes a senior designer will not allow that. He will tell my idea is good. So solving all this itself make a product fail sometimes if you are not going in a proper way. So we have a method for doing all these things as the idea screening. This also has various steps. Whether we should go with this idea. If this idea is converted into a product, will my product sell? So it can be taken by the expert people who is into this, can be a third party. They helps us in screening the idea and ask the team to go for concept development. This concept development stage is where different concepts are developed. For example, if you want to design a pen, there are thousands of models in the market. So you have to decide which category of people you are going to design the pen. Maybe a college going student. So what is his requirement? It should be trendy in looking. It should write for, maybe as the advertisement say, it should write kilometers and kilometers. Okay, good flow of ink. It should not interrupt while writing. Smooth writing. So they start developing the concept. A pen, a particular shape, cylindrical shape, maybe a hexagonal shape, length 10 centimeter or 8 centimeter. So many concepts will be developed and they go for a next stage called as the concept selection. Different steps by step procedure is there where they go for concept selection. So they'll narrow, if they're developing 10 concepts, they narrow it down to one concept and do the testing of it. Maybe a physical test or a virtual test, they'll do it. Or they give to the expert and ask them to select it. Which concept will be good for production? This is my concept. It has a different color design. It is 5 mm in diameter. It is 80 mm in length. And it has an eternal flow of ink. It will write for 1 year continuously or 365 days, 10 pages per day. It will keep on writing. Any color can be sold out. So a lot of concepts will be developed and we'll go for a testing. Then next stage is a marketing strategy for development. We'll check whether we have a good market for selling our product. Is there any college nearby? Are there students who try for a new product? How many pens they will be buying it? In a particular, in 1 year, how many pens they will be buying it? So what is their mentality in buying a pen? Will they buy only during the exam days? So a lot of factors will be taken into consideration for a market study of it. Then they will do a business analysis of your product. I'll be producing 1 lakh pens. So what will be my business projection? What all equipments are needed for that? Will I get profit in 2 years? Will I break even after that? So all this business analysis will be studying during that phase. After that only you will be going for the final product development. Okay, you'll be fixing the or converting this concept for the final product. You'll be doing different analysis for it. Maybe the engineering analysis you'll be doing it. Aesthetic analysis you'll be checking it. How beautiful your pen is. All those analysis you'll be doing it, and final product will be ready for prototyping. At this time only you'll be doing the prototyping of it. Either physical prototyping or virtual prototype. Then that prototype you will push it into the market testing. You are not still now launched your product. You will be making few products some cases, or you will be supplying the brochures for it to the end users, or some selected users will be taken into consideration and you will give to them. This is my product. Will you buy my product? Is there anything to be changed? If you get a negative feedback, you will come back to concept development again. You will come back here. Then you will follow the process again. Repeat. And finally, when you get a good result from the market testing, you will go for commercialization, official launch of your product. Official launch means you will get the suppliers, dealers, you will go for advertisement, etc., etc. Why advertisement is very important for your product? You have to think about it. Without advertisement, will you be able to sell your product? No. You need good advertisement unless you are known in the market. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for you to sell your product. I think almost 80% of this audience today, we see the advertisement. After that only we'll be buying the product, right? Yes or no? It's a big guess.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it is a psychological factor by which people buy your product. If you advertise properly, you have seen Amitabh Bachchan coming, no, and selling or advertising for Lexer pen, or he's coming for another one, Parker pen. And there are people who see this advertisement and buy it. Okay, so that particular icon or particular personality really impacts for selling your product, either good or bad. Bad products also they sell it, or advertise and sell it. And as a customer, we are in this 80% category for buying that particular product. Now that trend is changing. Since online sales have come, Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, etc., whatever, we go for checking the technical specification or the specification of the product and look for the customer feedback. And many customer feedback are like paid advertisement. They'll tell, if you write a good feedback, I'll give you a discount for your next product, something like that. I'm not going into detail about it. So these are the stages in which a new product will be designed. Idea screening, a good idea of a product, creating the idea, then screening of it, then going for concept development and narrowing down the concept development into one, testing it, going for a market study and checking whether you'll get profit for selling it. Then you'll go for the actual development of your product, prototyping it. Then you test with the real users. Maybe a few samples will make it and show it to others. And finally, you'll be going for commercialization. And then N should be profit for your company. Okay. So if you do it properly with the Aristotle's principle, the 4 causes, surely you will end up in a good design which will be sold out. Yeah. Now, this is Aristotle rhetoric. It is nothing but how you are using your language, mainly for the advertising your product, or what ideas you will bring into while selecting your product, what support you are going to give. This is mainly for digital products, not for this is applicable for digital products. Maybe the digital services, what you are getting it, etc. So if you are thinking about travel, I'm from Hyderabad, you are traveling to Chennai. After landing, what do you think? How to from Chennai to my place, Vellore? It is around 130 to 140 kilometers, and you are new to Chennai. And how will you travel from Chennai to Vellore? Any idea? If you are new to that city and if you want to take a taxi, what you will do? Or what belief you are having now? Any answer? No. So we have developed a character for the product. You should always develop a character for the product. So if you want to travel, mainly many people use the different sort of apps nowadays. So if you take Uber, so what is the benefit of it? Maybe they have created a character like safe travel, cheap. So if you hire a taxi, he may cost you depending on the bargain, he may put up a rate. But Uber has created a character, safe journey for a cheap travel compared to the existing ones. So this character is given here, this credibility of your product. They have created a credibility for it. Okay, now coming into the logic of it. What is the logic? They may give discounts. For my first travel, 10% discount. So when you're having a product, try to create the credibility first, then go for the, for example, if you're going to buy a toothpaste, which one you will buy, or which toothpaste brand will come into your mind? Only few, right? First will come Colgate, right?
Colgate, sir.
Yeah, why? Why you told us Colgate?
Advertisement.
No,
More
not
advertisements.
advertisement.
Brand one, sir.
Not brand. Why Colgate? We are eyeing close up, right? You are having close up.
It's been in the market for a long time. Market standing and the credibility it has with the product.
Yeah, credibility or the character. It has created a character in you. You know that Colgate will be good for me. It is cheap in the market. Then it is available everywhere. The logic is created. Okay, it is having different forms. Now charcoal model has come. With the salt it has come. With the cardamom it has come. Many things. And finally the empathy. This empathy converts you to use your product, use that particular product. So you are deeply involved. Your emotions are fully into that particular brand. Okay, so combining this credibility, the logic of selling it, and the empathy behind it, or the emotions, what do you have with that particular product? is a successful product. The logic of Swiggy. What is the logic of Swiggy? You have Swiggy in your area, right? Where you can order food.
Sir, yes, sir.
What is the logic?
Provides more coupons, referral amount.
Yeah,
and,
they give coupons. Good. What is the character they created? Any restaurant in your area with a cheaper price, right?
yes, sir.
And delivery, immediate delivery, maybe less than half an hour depending on the distance.
No delivery charges.
Yeah, no delivery charges, but they have a different business model which I am not going to discuss maybe. And what is the empathy what they created?
Cheap, yeah, somewhat cheap, sir. From
That is the logic. Empathy is that they take the feedback from you, right? They take the feedback. How was the delivery? How was the delivery boy in proper uniform, etc.? How was the food, etc. for different restaurants? So they create an empathy towards using their product and buying it from a particular restaurant. They help in that. So these are the Aristotle's art of language in buying or selling your product, or when you're getting addicted to a particular product. Somashekhar sir, I have time, right?
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is very, very important when you design products. You have to be very careful in pricing strategy, the quality strategy, luxury strategy, and the utility strategy. So when you're designing a product, you have to fix it, or you have to know how many people buy your product depending on the price. All of you take bath daily, right? We buy a particular brand of soap.
Hamam or Rexona.
Right, Hamam, Rexona, Liril, Synthol, then when the student side, I don't think they'll be using it.
Santur.
Sandur, yeah, right. Peers, etc., etc. So I'm going to make a soap or a particular product with all qualities of peers, all qualities. Everything. Peers is selling for 40 or 50 rupees per 70 grams. TFM value 72%. So if I sell this similar soap for 5 rupees, will you buy it?
No, sir.
Why?
First of all, we don't know about the product now. We don't have any credibility about that product.
You don't have credibility of it, but everything is same. All lab results are same. Everything. The TFM value is 72%.
But a low price seems unreasonable. We don't accept. I can't make a soap so many characteristic features with at 5 rupees.
We may think it is cheap quality, right? Okay, so if you are designing it well and good with all the specification, but the pricing should be benchmarked with the existing product. You can sell it for 39 rupees or 40 rupees, similar to the existing product. Then only people will believe it. So the pricing should be always benchmarked. You should not sell a particular product for cheaper rate. If you are going for Nike or Reebok, they don't have cheap shoes. Their products are above 2,500 or 3,500. Then only people will buy their product. You understood? If they bring down the cost, Nobody, there are categories of people who buys that product. Okay, if you bring it cheaper, there are a category of people who will not buy your product. They look the price of the product and buy it. Now coming to the quality, they don't mind paying extra 100 or 1000 rupees if the quality is good. So they check only the quality. They go for a soap which is having 75% TFM value. They don't look at the brand. They check, they go for the technical specification of it. They check the quality of it and they buy it. And there are hundreds of products like this, which many people doesn't buy it. Now luxury strategy. There are people who buy only luxury products. Can you tell me a luxury brand?
In mobiles, Apple.
Yeah, mobile phone, Apple, good.
In cars, Volvo.
Yeah, cars, Benz, Volvo, BMW, etc. Will they come and buy a Maruti car? No. Will they buy a MI phone? No. Will they buy a Nokia phone? No. Why? These category of people buy only luxury products. So you have to design products with the luxury. Diamond studded keyboard. Is the phone available like that? Diamond studded keyboard. Sorry, keypads.
Yes.
Now phones are without keypads. Maybe previously there was phone from Nokia. When there was only keypads in it, it is called as Virtue phones.
Yes, sir.
Virtue. If you check online, you will can see this model, Virtue models, where the business people used to buy it. It was a very thick phone with a titanium body with the diamond studded keypads. Diamonds were actually placed in the keys. So there are products products like this where people buy it. Then in Delhi, one shop is there for watches. The minimum price is all 2 lakhs. Or the starting price is 2 lakhs. And they get hell lot of customers for it. And finally coming to the utility strategy. Who is going to they look only whether it will work properly or not. They need to satisfy their need, that's all. If you are going to buy a maybe a sewing machine, will you look at the pricing of it? No. Quality, of course. Luxury, no. You'll check whether it is stitching properly. Okay. Utility, printers. If you sell a printer with 2 lakhs, a desktop printer, nobody will buy it. We don't want luxury for it. We need quality, price, and utility of it. So you have to categorize products into this range, this areas, and start designing of it. Okay. Now coming into the psychological factors by which people buy your product. Same as a luxury product, there are prestige products in the market, which is of high cost. So people buy those products only. Then what is imitation? People buy for imitation. My neighbor has a silk saree, I buy it. My neighbor has a Reebok shoe, I buy it. So there are people seeing others and he'll buy it. My classmate, my friend is having a Apple phone, so I buy it. Maybe no, but there are people like that. And what is? Do people buy products for love? Yes, I love that product. From childhood onwards, I have built a character towards it. I never change that brand. So I love that product. Previously, I used to buy only Nokia phones. Nokia changed into Lumia when Microsoft purchased it. Then I changed to Lumia. Okay, so I had a particular love towards that particular brand, or it had created something towards me to buy that product. Now changed it to maybe OnePlus phone. So like that. Then what is fear? Do you buy a product because of fear?
No, sir.
No.
Office
It is
culture.
not fear towards the product. It's not that part. It is not that. It is not fear towards the product.
Repellents, sir. Mosquito repellents and stuff.
Pardon me?
Repellents, sir. Insect repellents.
Not clear for me.
Sir, mosquito repellents, sir. Like good night and all out.
Yeah, it is the fear that that particular product will not be available tomorrow. Understood? For example, Amazon or the Flipkart, they use this fear to buy the product. They simply use this fear towards you. For example, when I purchased a OnePlus Nord phone. OnePlus, which was the cheapest phone from OnePlus. So what they did is last one piece or last three pieces available. They make a trend like that and create fear in you. If I don't buy it now, I will not get that phone. And they will simply put next available March 23rd. Okay. They try to create fear in you so that you will buy that product immediately. Okay. And we actually buy it. We actually buy that product. Then people buy product for trend. Just for one day, they just buy that product. Trendy products or fashionable products. This is New Year day. They purchase something and use it. Christmas time, Diwali time, Ugadi time, whatever. They buy a product. So it's only a trend. Maybe for one day that particular product will sell. Then we buy product for comfort. These are the majority of users. They buy a mixie, they buy a fridge, they buy a washing machine. All the consumer items comes under this comfort. We need comfort. I don't want to go for the old traditional method to make batter. I don't want to use my hand to clean my clothes. I don't want to squeeze and make juice. I'll buy a mixie or juicer. Then for variety, do you buy products for variety? Yes, of course. I have 3 pairs of shoes. One for jogging, one for going to college, one for casual outing, one for driving the car. We people buy for variety, especially women group or ladies group. They have enormous product. So while designing, you can focus on this area. Designing products for women. They go for variety products, different types of baggages, different types of purses, watches, whatever. It's a good market to explore. Now for outcome. These are something like if you're having a function in your home, to avoid some outcome, you buy this product and keep it. Okay. Nowadays, the COVID products, right? Thousands of
Sanitizer, gloves.
Yeah, thousands of products are coming to the market. Now also as a designer, you have enormous opportunities to make different products Now there's a sanitizer dispenser itself. How many models you have seen? Small bottles you have seen, bigger bottles you have seen, cans you have seen, dispensable type you have seen, pedal pressing you have seen, electronic type. Only one less than 1 ml will spray it to your hand. Controlled dispenser. In the pen, have you seen it? In the pen also is available where sanitizers comes out. So different models are come. So this can be in that particular category. And finally, the practical purpose. People buy products only for practical reasons. I need to write the exam. I am buying a pen, 2 rupees pen. He is confident that that 2 rupee pen will write for 22 pages and I can finish that exam. I can throw away that pen. Now to spice up things, if you are having a party at home, you buy different items, decorative items, different colas, different plates, different lights. So people buy products to just spice up. So these are the psychological matters of people who is going to buy a product. And if you are going through all these things, it is easy to be a designer to focus on these areas and design products and sell it to them. And finally, this is the last slide. Don't design a product without need. Always you have to keep in mind this letter, this word, the need. If you don't design, if you design a product with a need, you will succeed. Otherwise, you will fail. Surely you will not be able to sell your product, or you will be the only user for that particular product. So always keep it in life if you are going to be a product designer. Without need, don't design any product, any product. Thank you all. Hope you had a little insight into the new product development. Somasekhar sir,
Yes, sir.
should I discuss about prototyping or shall I wind up here?
If you possible, you can take the 5 minutes, sir, for about prototype, just introduction to prototype, if possible. Otherwise, okay, sir.
Okay.
Briefly, sir, take 10-15 minutes. You can discuss.
Yeah. Okay. Then. Okay. I'm ready with the PPT. Maybe.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Since Harmanth Rao sir initially in the starting he told about students, you are going to have a maker space and how we want to prototype. Yeah. So, or should we have a discussion on new product development and should I continue this?
No, you go ahead with the prototyping, sir. That is better.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
So prototyping, as I told, it is the stage just before test marketing, market testing, and actual product is developed. Okay. So after the business development and the marketing strategy, we go for product development with all the technical specifications. And coming into the theory of it, there are different types of prototyping, not the methods or the uses of prototyping. Why do we use in a new product development these prototypes? First one is for learning. What do you learn from a prototype? So this is answering questions about performance or the feasibility of your prototype. After making a prototype, you see, oh, the length is little more. It is not fitting into my pocket. Something is projecting out. People will not like it. So you learn a lot of things from it. model is not good, it will not sell, or it is similar to Lexar company product. So people will think it is a duplicate, so nobody will buy your product. So you learn a lot of things from your prototype. Now you are going second one. You are going for communication of it. You are going to show your product. Sir, you gave me a new product design. I made it. See, this is how the product looks like. This is how it works. It is having a good tip, a good rubber grip. This is how it works. So you can communicate with the customers. You can communicate with the designers. You can communicate with the R&D people. Whoever you want. So this part also complete. Learning. You learn something that this is how your product looks like. You communicate with the customer or X and Y. Now integration of it is very important. As a mechanical designer, if you are designing a washing machine, who will take care of the power drive? Who will take care of the control system? We have to get help from the electrical designers. You have to get help from the electronic designers. If it is IoT based, you need electronics plus computer science students or designers. So in the prototype, you combine all these designers together or the suppliers. You are getting a motor from a particular company. You fit it and check it whether your prototype is working. You get the control from another company. You put it into your mechanical design and test it whether it is working properly. So integrating the subsystems or sub designs will be of the another domain. So third one also over. Now milestone. You can feel that in a product development stage, conceptualization, product design, prototyping, product launch. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have reached this stage. I have achieved something. My milestone is covered. I am nearer to my product launch. So this is a fourth part. So if you're having a prototype, you can fairly say that I learned how my design looks like, how my product looks like. I have easily communicated to the customers. I have integrated all the required components to it. And I reached a particular stage and I can fairly go for launching of my product. So these are the 4 uses of the prototypes you are going to make. And we are having 4 different types of prototype. The physical prototype, analytical prototype, comprehensive prototype, and focused prototype. So this analytical prototype, it is only equations. Think of someday some maybe a weapon designer is going to design a weapon. He's going to create a bomb. Before prototyping, what do you do? He has an equation for it, a chemical equation, or he create a mathematical equation for your product. If this function is changed, this is how the product will work. If this variable is changed, this is how my product will be. So this is only theoretical part where you can publish or you can patent it. Now focused product, only some part of your product will be integrated in it. You will make a box and tell this is my washing machine. And you will be providing a switch, just on off switch, and some sound will be coming. So only limited number of parts will be shown in this. Of course, a final shape, final form shape. That is a focused product. Now comprehensive and physical. Combining these things, you'll be giving all the attributes of your prototypes into this. Oh, maybe it is there. Yeah. It's an approximation of the final product. Okay, some behavior will be attached to it. Analytical, as I told, is a mathematical model. Physical, approximation of your product, approximate shape, size, etc. And focused, few attributes will be added to it. It answers few questions for it. This is the switch. If you switch it on, it will work. This is the exhaust. This is how it looks. And comprehensive, it will give all the attributes. It may be something a fully functional prototypes. Nowadays, comprehensive prototypes are made because of the technology for additive manufacturing, etc. Let me come to it maybe. Prototyping different strategy. Maybe I'll go to the next. Yeah. Prototyping methods. There are different methods, like latest method is additive. What is my subtractive? Subtractive method was previously used for making prototypes. A CNC machine, a welding machine, a shaping machine, a lathe. Maybe welding I can avoid, maybe. CNC machine, shaping machine, lathe, etc. Subtracts the material. So you'll be getting the raw material, a rod of a particular diameter which is available in the market. We use CNC or shaper or lathe to make a shaft like this, maybe a stepped down shaft. Okay, so we are subtracting the materials, and additive manufacturing is something where we add the material. The basic principle is that we have a CAD model of your product, convert that into, we call it as a STL format or STL, stereolithographic file. The CAD model is converted into triangular shapes. Okay, where each coordinate system is understandable by the machine. It's a machine language dependent format. That particular machines understand what to do, what your products looks like. And that is converted into physical object. Whatever shape, whatever CAD model, that will be converted into physical model and the machine will make it. And we are having different technologies for that. Starting with SLA, which was which was developed in the late 80s, maybe 1988 or 89. This was using a technology for the photosynthesis, photopolymer method, where the light falls on a liquid and it solidifies. Then came SLS, selective laser sintering. Now also it is a good process where metal as well as polymers are used for making the prototype. Then a common name called as a 3D printing. Everything is called as 3D printing. Let me ask you a question. So when you are going for finite element method, which software you use?
ANSYS.
Beautiful answer. Why? Why ANSYS?
We can do easily meshing and nodal points, stress analysis, thermal analysis.
That is a good answer. But that ANSYS build a brand saying that all analysis can be done in this. Okay, when you think about analysis, finite element analysis, we think about ANSYS. When you photocopying, what is the word coming into your mind?
Xerox.
Why?
it creates like that. Instead of photocopy, we made it as a Xerox, but it's not a
Xerox
photocopy.
is a company name. Company name or product name. Right. Similar to that, 3D printing. It is only a technology. All these can be called as 3D printing. Or they call as a desktop printing. So that particular name was flashed into the designers or the manufacturing engineers for it. So like that, hundreds of methods are there, or thousands of methods are there, or thousands of methods are, or daily one method is coming into the market for. So when I started my research in rapid prototyping in 2002. At that time, it was called rapid prototyping. Before that, it was called solid free from fabrication, SFF. After that, it became layer manufacturing, LM. Then 3D printer. Before that, one more was there, solid free from fabrication, FFF. Now it is generally called as additive manufacturing. So this is the evolution of that particular name. Stage by stage, different names are coming, and AM is running for a longer time now, additive manufacturing. It actually makes the product additively or adding materials and makes the objects. Got it? So in your lab, I think you're going to buy a small FDM printer. That's what I understood, which is the cheapest. It is a fused deposition modeling, where that particular machine will be having two nozzles to feed material into your system. And the technology is that this particular bed moves down. So if you want to make a cylindrical object, for an example, your STL file is made like this into, STL file is a triangular file, and it actually slices your product. Slicing one step is there where it slices your product. For example, if you are having 10 coins, place one above it of 1 mm. So total you'll be having 10 mm, right? So depending on your CAD model, this particular machine will build the first 1 mm cylindrical shape like this with the materials. Okay, then what will happen? Through this one nozzle, it will put a layer of material on the building bed. Then the table will go down. Of what distance? 1 mm. It will go down for a distance of 1 mm. Then it will put the second layer, first layer, second layer like this, above it. Then it will move another 1 mm. Then it will put the third layer. Like that, it will keep on adding materials layer by layer, or it will add materials layer by layer to get final product of 10 mm like this. And to my knowledge, the printers what is available in the market can reach up to 450 mm, 450 to 500 mm max, half meter. Previously it was 200 to 250, then 300 came like that. So there are a lot of issues in making this using different technology, like 2 different layers coming out. We call it as the delamination of the product. Or if you are making a cylinder, you will not get cylindricity, or it will not be a straight line. Some corrugations will be there, surface finish will not be there, etc., etc. Now most of the mechanical issues are solved, and you get good products made out of it. Functional products can be made out of it. Maybe I did the functional testing in 2006, where we made different metallic bushes for fans and automatic components, for the steering knuckles, then for starter motor in cars, etc. Bushes were made and tested. Then for tooling applications, it is very good, where different dies can be made with maybe one day. Usually, if you are making a die for making some complicated tooling application, it may take 1 month or 2 or 3 weeks to make a die. So now with the RP application, it can be 1 or 2 days to make a die. So maybe, this is coming to the virtual prototyping. All these things can be checked using different softwares: the fit and assembly, manufacturability, form and style, kinematic assembly, FEA analysis, crash testing, different analysis using ANSYS, Nastran, NISA, then Adams. N number of softwares are for different applications, including AutoCAD. AutoCAD 360 is having a feature for prototyping and testing. The SolidWorks has it. These softwares, etc., can be used for fit and assembly, manufacturability, kinematics, etc. For this is called as a virtual prototyping of a product. And these are the traditional prototyping method which are continuously we are using it: CNC machining, then rubber molding method, urethane casting, and then the MDes students, BDes students, Bachelor of Design and Test.
Yes,
Pardon
sir.
me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they use foam, wood, foam, plastic, etc. for including the clay. They use materials for prototyping. But nowadays, did anyone?
Some disturbance, sir. Nothing.
Okay, fine.
We can
So
conclude, sir.
these are the prototyping methods. If required, I can take some other session later on with all these technologies in detail, maybe. Okay, since I was not much prepared about, I was planning only for new product development. If required, I can go for how SLA works, SLS works, LOM, DMLS, DMD, SLM, etc. How this process works. FDM mainly, which is very cheap and used widely in throughout the world. Maybe I can have another session to go in detail how each processor are used in prototype. Yeah, this comes to my end of the session. I'm ready to take up a few questions maybe.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Just before going to take a questionnaire session, we'll have one group photo, sir.
Yeah, please.
Dear participant, please turn on your videos. Is everyone, please turn on your video. Kishore sir, Miranjali sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Kishore sir, the unknown.
Yeah, right. Approaching. Sir. Yeah, please. Smile, please. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Nigel sir, for your wonderful lecture, very enlightening lecture to our students and faculty members also. I hope all the participants have benefited. before we propose our vote of thanks, I request participants to kindly raise any queries they have, and sir will answer the questions. I request the participants to kindly, unmute, and then you can post your questions. Very good. Somebody raised a hand.
One question.
Yeah.
Sir, this one question.
Are all students from mechanical department or?
Mechanical only, sir. Mechanical.
Okay. And in final year, you're having an elective for product design, right?
Yes, sir. Additive manufacturing, sir.
Oh, additive manufacturing. Okay, good.
Yeah, yes, sir. RPT. Before RPT, now it changed to additive manufacturing.
Yeah, additive manufacturing, right.
Yes, sir. Sir, Krishna, sir, you're asking some question. Actually, we have not received the text.
Yeah.
Please,
Can
sir.
I ask you?
Yeah, please, sir. Please, sir.
I'm audible to you.
Yes,
Your
yes.
voice is not audible.
I'm not audible.
Right now, yes, you are audible, sir. Please speak out.
Yes, sir. Sir, we had a nice session. One thing I wanted to add to this one is now we have had a general product design. And next time, whenever we have a session, some design elements also we get into that one. That will be another session. Sir? That will be fine, I think. This is whatever we have discussed so far. It's a general thing. Can we expect some technical guide, sir, next time? Thank you.
Actually, I just briefed upon how we are going to approach for a new product and what are the technical theories behind how to approach design of a new product. Okay, I didn't go specifically towards a particular design. Yeah, maybe I can think about it.
Sure, sir. Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It will not be engineering design. Okay.
Right.
For example, I had done a work for aesthetic design of a mixie or a mixer jar. The mixie what we use at home for making batter, juice, etc. So when you're all of us use that mixie in a wrong way. Like, how many of you keep your hand above the mixie while operating it?
Most of us.
Why?
Everybody.
Why?
We want to keep the lid tight. And we want our hand to rest on something while you're operating.
maybe that is not the reason. You don't believe that product, right?
Yeah. We never know when the lid will come off.
No, that is your mentality, your psychological feeling that lid will come out. So mixie is designed such a way that the lid will not come out.
But we're extra cautious.
Okay.
That's all.
And there are a lot of engineers and product designers working their brain out to design a good lid for it so that it will stay intact. But then also, as a user, including me, I keep the hand above the mixie to design work. So that is actually I worked for making the aesthetic design of the mixie. Mixie, if you take it, 90 to 98% of mixie is saying internal parts are same.
Sure.
Internal part is same. A small rotating mechanism with a brush motor mechanism. Only the outer part is designed. So if you take your wife or a mother or girlfriend to buy a new mixie for they will look how beautiful that mixie is. They don't know whether it is 750 watts, 450 watts or 1000 watts. They don't know what sound it makes. And their mentality is how beautiful their mixie is compared to your neighbor. Right? So that is how mixie people are fooling us or selling their product. Similarly for the microwaves, how they sell it. They tell it is having a 25-liter capacity and nobody knows what this capacity is. If you check online, it will tell, keep the, what do you call, oven upside down, pour water, 25 liters of water will fill in. That is a description which will be given. So there are some things while designing a product we should take into care. So I was focusing on that. Maybe if I ask students to design a safety pin, nobody will do it. Why? Safety pin, it was designed hundreds of years before and patented as a product. But, or if you are asking for a sewing needle to redesign it, sewing needle design has problems now, or it already has a problem. Old age people cannot put the thread inside. It will, so we cannot make the hole bigger, right? But new design has come into the market where we can just slide the thread inside. So there are designers who think in that way. Why can't I redesign a needle? Why can't I redesign a safety pin? But we have to think in that way. Existing products, even though if it is optimized design, some problems will be there with it. If you try to solve it, you can patent it, you can become rich, you will become a good designer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So what sir is telling is, apart from the regular physical characteristics and properties of the material, the other dimension that we need to think about is the empathy and logic. That is very important for us when we design a component. And
yeah, that will be little engineering design maybe.
Right.
So I understood.
Right. So,
totally understood.
So other dimension we normally never talk about.
Right.
Whenever design, talk about design characteristics, we don't talk about the stress, strain values, other things. But we talk less about the aesthetics and other aspects like empathy and how the user feels about the product. What kind of modifications you need to make.
And then I had to think about engineering design since it was a new product development.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's, overall, it's a very nice session, sir. Any other queries from us participants, or I request our my colleague Mr. Sampath to kindly propose vote of thanks.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. I'm audible.
Yes, sir. Please.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Good afternoon, one and all. On behalf of Mechanical Department MECS, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who are directly and indirectly contributed to this webinar on product design and prototyping, organized by our institute. At the outset, I thank our resource person, Dr. C.D. Naidu. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence, sir. Thank you. We are also thankful to our college management for their motivation. I would like to thank our beloved principal, Dr. D. Hanumantrao Garu, for his enthusiastic support, and a special thanks to the HOD, Dr. M.V. Kishore, and organizing committee, teaching staff for their unflinching support and coordination. Our heartfelt thanks to our student for active participation. With these warm words and a kind message, we move up to the end of this today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sampath, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.